I'm Jay.
And I'm Jeff.
Today we're recording this on the day of the series finale of Game of Thrones.
On the eve.
It's hours away.
Series finale, yep.
Hours away. Not that it's going to be strictly stuck to Game of Thrones because,
just happens to be topical at the moment.
Yeah. But,
and it's the TV show of our time at the moment, this generation.
I started watching that, I want to say season 4 or 5. Heard everybody talk about it, kind of got convinced at some point to go ahead and, okay, I'll give this a try and watch it because I don't watch a lot of TV anyway. And I'll admit, I burned through the first 4 or 5 seasons like quick. And I binged the fuck out of those.
Yeah,
I've been watching ever since.
I think somebody brought me in season 2 or 3. Briefly, I saw 1 or 2, 3 episodes, and I hated it. Really? I thought it was absolutely stupid.
Like, was it the acting? Was it the...
when you don't know the backstory, right? And
I had no idea the backstory.
What I'm saying, like, if you jump in mid-season, you start seeing things.
Watching.
Yeah, started mid-season, season 2 or season 3.
I went back and watched it from...
Spoiler alerts, if anybody hasn't watched this by now.
We'll make a sidebar about that real quick.
Right now? Well, let me finish my point.
Yeah, finish your point.
I got in watching a few of them, and I just couldn't understand some of the dynamic. It wasn't making any sense. Like, I know I have to suspend reality, but when you're trying to make it seem real in some ways, or when they put their own laws into a movie or a show, you know what I mean by laws? Like, you can't be out at noon or else you'll shrivel up. But then, what if it's noon somewhere else? I can't think of a good one, but that's my point. They put their own rules in and they break their own rules in the show. And, it's literary license. I get it. You got to move the show along, but it drives me nuts because it sucks me right out of the story.
You need to have consistency with your own set of standards.
So I think where the White Walkers were running by and these people basically just hid behind a rock. And of course they didn't see them. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, a rock really is going to stop you from being seen by like 2,000 or 3,000 White Walkers as they walk by? A rock just hiding behind a rock? Like, they just didn't notice you?
Not one of them noticed.
Not one of them noticed. So that's that kind of crap. I watched it. I'm like, this is stupid.
The best case I can point out for that would be The Walking Dead, which I used to watch. And I used to really enjoy at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think myself and a lot of people fell off of watching that because it just got stupid. But in there, it's like, okay, you all have, not all, but a big member of that group had like impeccable aim. And they would show, would show you like pick off,
true.
You're
like 150 yards and it's one shot.
Yeah, just fucking boom, boom, boom.
And they're 20 feet away and they're firing 40 rounds and not hitting one.
Yeah, and you get like, there are top 10 sharpshooters or whatever out there. And I think it was Negan. Was he the bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody he's in front of them and nobody can hit him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, guys, now you've crossed the line where suddenly these people can't. And I mean, if there's 10 of them, if it was one, you could say, okay, adrenaline got to them or the whole situation was too much, but there's 10 of them. Somebody's making that shot.
So I've read a few things on that one, and some of the, people...
I've fallen off like 3 seasons ago. I'm done with it.
Some of the people are tossing out going, maybe they didn't want to kill Negan.
Well, yeah, because he was a good character, but...
I know, I'm not even saying from a show development standpoint, like, the people kind of were like, maybe we don't agree with them, but... We don't want to kill him either.
The characters didn't want to kill him.
Correct.
No, fuck that. Because they hate him. They're always talking about they want him dead.
But they do. But if you kill him, there's a vacuum, right? It's kind of like and not to go political, but look at Saddam Hussein. You take him out of power, you leave a power vacuum, and it can be worse. Like as bad as that dude is, it can be worse. And you didn't keep watching, so you don't know. You should keep watching.
I can't. It's so slow and so fucking stupid anymore.
And it is. But it's like Game of Thrones. When you started watching Game of Thrones, you probably hated Jaime Lannister.
No, that show is great in the fact that it creates characters and you can move them along so much to where you've got that character development where it's a love-hate thing and then you end up rooting for the person who was evil at the beginning because their character evolved, and that's just good storytelling.
It is. It's great storytelling, and they did it well. And I thought I hated it at first. I got bored in the wintertime and I was house sitting and they had HBO. So I thought, what the hell with it?
I mean, technically, you're house sitting right now. You're
sitting in my house. But so I got on, and I just, it was 7 hours a day probably. Mm-hmm. Day in and day out. By the end of a couple weeks, I had a bachelor's degree in Game of Thrones. Right. So then I started listening to the audiobooks, which are 36 hours a piece. I've only ever chewed through one of them.
I've not read the books, and I've not listened to the audiobooks yet. Yeah. I'm waiting for it to end. I'll probably get I probably need to order those. I want to read the books now.
I am amazed at the backstory that man built. Just that the human mind can create such an elaborate world.
Yeah.
Now, I know he's pulling from, influences from other stories that he's probably heard. Whatever, I get that whole concept. Like everything's a remake,
videos.
right? Exactly. Shrek. The similarities between Shrek and Game of Thrones, but it is amazing. To me, it's right up there with Star Wars. But just like Star Wars, we're going out a series, but you're talking about a trilogy, or not? Well, it's not a trilogy anymore, but
yeah.
What do you call that? An episodic anthology. And people hate it because
that's what I wanted.
Because you change it, you have different writers and you have different
not even that
missions, and
so this happened with Breaking Bad, which is, I mean, really, I think when I'm thinking back at any show that I really watched, like beginning to end, that I thoroughly enjoyed, I think it was Breaking Bad for sure. At some point I watched Lost, but that was a while ago, and I couldn't even tell you. It was a while ago. Yeah. But and now there's this one. So I don't watch a whole lot of TV anyway, but I'm definitely hooked on Game of Thrones. And when it comes down to the ending, Sopranos, I did see that one too. But it gets down to where like people get really pissed off at how it ends. So as someone who's creating this show, the amount of pressure that's on you, at some point you have to just say, okay, fuck everybody else. We're going to stick with what we had, planned. And put it out there. So it's like such a great series, and at the end, it always seems to leave at least more than half the people disappointed. So why does it always seem to be the way it goes?
Well, you can't make everybody happy all the time, right?
I get that, but it seems like the majority of people aren't happy with the Sopranos ending, with Breaking Bad ending, with this ending.
Well, just think about this though, and I'm with you, and it just kind of came to me here. Everybody's in with the show completely, like they love the show, they love how it was going. I don't think nobody really wants it to stop, right? And at some point, the hardest thing to do almost is to wrap everything up and end it, like, because things don't just end, right? Life doesn't. I mean, life might end for an individual or something like that, but things don't just.
But you need closure for the story, yeah.
Right, and sometimes that could be extremely complex to get that kind of closure, and somebody's going to be left on one side of the aisle and the other.
I think they did a good job.
I think so far. I am not so. I can tell.
I haven't seen the finale yet.
I haven't seen the finale either.
We'll sidebar before we get into any kind of detail, just to get my spoiler alert thing out of the way. Fuck you and fuck your spoiler alert. So no, it's not. It shouldn't even be a thing. Like, you have, I think, about a week at most to be able to get mad about a spoiler alert. So if you are a true fan of something, right, then you should have seen it by now. So for me, like, spoilers don't work.
People work, man. People travel and are gone a couple weeks at a time.
Okay, it's an hour-long episode. Like, if you're not caught up, and if you're not caught up, then you're not that big of a fan. Then you don't get to have the luxury of spoiler alerts. Like, if it's an hour after the episode aired, and
maybe you found it late. Maybe you found it late, and you're trying to catch up.
Yeah, well, too fucking bad. I mean, if you want to put a little, hashtag spoiler alert on this episode,
and I will
fucking go for it.
Yeah, because I hate it.
But then fucking watch the show, or don't get mad. It's like it'd be like me finding out right now. Fuck, I don't know who won the Super Bowl last year, but a team won it. So okay, maybe I should pick something I care more about. Who won the Super Bowl?
New
last
England.
Year? Was it? Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you were here that day, and
the
we
Patriots
did the thing. Okay, it'd be like me finding out now, today, in May, that in February the Patriots won the Super Bowl, and then me getting upset about that. Ooh, what a spoiler alert! Fuck you, dude. Like, it happened already. Well, if you cared, you'd have been there.
First of all, I think that's a little different because you probably haven't invested. Let's see. There's 70. How many 70-something episodes of Game of Thrones?
Fuck, I have no idea.
There's at least 70 plus.
This is the 8th season, right? Or something.
And an hour a piece. You haven't.
It's been out for like what?
But I'm just saying,
years? 9 years.
There's a lot more invested time-wise than the Super Bowl. You don't have to watch the last year's games to know what's happening in the Super Bowl.
But, I mean, if you can get mad about a spoiler alert, it shouldn't even be a spoiler alert. It's like, okay, if that movie everybody's watching right now, the superhero thing. Come on, a bunch of superhero guys.
Yeah, I know. End world.
Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either, so don't screw up for me.
I've not.
And it's been out for over a week, so screw you.
I
haven't made it yet. I haven't got there, and I just haven't the time.
Well, but if it meant that much to you that other people needed to be silenced.
No, give a warning, man. That's all.
All
give a warning.
I guess
it's not silence. Do what you want.
But
I hear. So I have.
If you cared that much, go see it.
I'm going to put this out into the ether to the world, and I'm going to give away one of my Jeff approved app ideas that I will never do. But if you could create a part of an app, at least even in Facebook, a function in Facebook that would, like anything that said Game of Thrones or anything like that would automatically mute it, censor it, or at least say, hey, there's possible.
Doesn't Twitter have that?
I don't know that.
I think Twitter has some sort of thing you can like block off certain things. I don't know.
I mean, you can block
Somebody
things,
told me I
but
don't use
like
Twitter.
automate
I
it.
don't know how to.
That would be great for me. You know, you can turn it on, turn it off, put your shows in there. I don't want to hear anything about this, that, or the other.
Gotcha.
Because it's gotten me, and it's on accident. So, you know.
Never got me, because any show I care about, I watch. I'm an actual fan.
I don't have cable, so I don't have HBO. I have to watch it. I have to watch it with other people.
But you can buy HBO for like $15 a month. I don't have HBO.
Yeah, it's not.
I just canceled my DirecTV. I don't even have cable or any kind of TV service in my home. Everything is now streamed digitally.
12 years for me.
So is 12 years? So there you go.
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep watching Game of Thrones. So I bought, I don't know, it's $15 a month for HBO, and now I watch. How many subscriptions do you think they're going to lose
all of
tomorrow?
Them. All of them.
All I watch on that is Game of Thrones. I don't see any reason to stick around.
No, I'm with you.
I'm going to have to get on a cancel tomorrow.
Yep. But my point was, I had, Google newsfeed, things like that I go through. And nice. It tries telling me, like, hey, you should look at this article, look at that article. And it never fails that fucking, because I've looked at things about Game of Thrones, it comes up, and I usually have to watch it the next day or whatnot. So it's kind of a pain. I'm like, well, I wish I could turn it off for at least, half an hour or an hour until I get to watch it. Or...
See, what I do is I make sure that when the show comes out, I watch it. And then anything I see afterwards isn't a spoiler because I've already seen it. Because I don't want spoiler alerts, and because I'm a fan of the show, and I'm.
What if you work midnights? It's on while you work. You can't get till the next morning.
Here's an odd thought, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, "What? You can do that?" So what I do a lot of times is I turn my motherfucking phone off because
can't.
I don't leave. Yeah, no, you can.
Not if you
Or
can't.
don't look at Facebook.
Well, then there's that, and that's what I've had to go through.
Like I can go days without looking at my phone. At least
we know we've tried getting a hold of you.
I used to be able to. Now it's more because you got the band, you got this. There's other things that I have to.
Oh, you mean you have to
look at it for?
Be on there? See.
No,
Some people have to for work.
I still don't have to be on Facebook. It's just that I might get a text or a message or whatever that I got to respond to. But it's nothing for me to shut my phone off on Friday and not turn it back on until Tuesday.
But this from a person who records certain sporting events and doesn't want it spoiled for them.
Correct. But what do I do then? Like, okay,
you watch it when you can.
So I'm a Cleveland Browns fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I do watch that when it comes to football. Yes. So a lot of times, just last year, we had some shows in Wisconsin, and we were driving home on Sunday opening day. So there was the Browns versus the Steelers, and I knew I'd be in transit during that time. So what did I do? I made sure to record it, so when I got home I could watch it, and I turned my phone off. I just didn't check Facebook. I didn't look at anything that would give it away, and then I came home and I watched it. And of course, it was disappointing.
I'm just saying that sometimes it's yeah, right.
I don't remember if they won or lost, but they probably lost.
Odds are, right?
But I got home at like I think I don't know, it was late. I think I finished watching that game at it was late. Early morning Monday when I finally got to sit down and watch it. But I just removed it's not everybody else's responsibility to not ruin it for me. It's my responsibility to make sure that I don't see it. So I just didn't look at things that would give it away. And if I would happen to look on Facebook and somebody posts, "Oh, this happened," how can I get mad at that? Right? It's not their responsibility to watch out for me. It's my responsibility to watch out for myself. So I remove myself from the situation.
I guess. I mean, I just disagree. I mean, I think it's courtesy. Not common courtesy. It's just courtesy.
It's not courtesy.
It's courtesy. Not everybody's going to see it at the same time. So chill out for a minute.
The whole point of Facebook is to put your opinions up on things.
Yeah.
So if there's a sporting event,
just put
or
a spoiler event. Yeah, I mean, let it put a spoiler out there.
Or everybody could just take responsibility for themselves like I did and just didn't. I remove myself from the things that could ruin it for me.
Oh, a world of J's. What would that be?
Nobody would talk to each other. We would all just sit inside.
What would you argue about?
Well, Well, nothing at that point.
Right? It'd be
The
fucking
world of
boring.
anybody with just one person, they'd all agree with everything.
So a few of the shows that I got wrapped into, Lost. I mean, I had so much invested in watching that
I didn't
stupid
like the ending of
show.
Lost. I wasn't mad about it.
I wasn't mad about it, but I'm like, man, I watched all this for this. Because what you were watching wasn't all that good. You were just trying to figure out, how are you going to tie this up? Like, where is this going?
Was it only me that it took a little bit to figure it all out?
I didn't get it right away.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I mean, they basically were meeting up in a church, right? If I remember correctly, at the end. And I guess I don't really remember what
it was a whole good, evil purgatory sort of thing.
It was a purgatory. Okay.
They've been dead the whole time.
Right.
And they were all just kind of working out their personal things where they figured out how to.
Okay, maybe I didn't get that from it. Gotcha.
But it took me a while.
I knew I read some people's opinions on that, and I don't remember what my opinion was.
I could be fucking wrong. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I hope somebody messaged me and tells me what it actually meant. That's how I took it. And I tried to rewatch it.
Oh, that's painful, huh?
It was just too fucking long.
Yeah. You got lost?
I got lost.
Well, I don't like watching shows that don't have a story arc. And that was the one thing about Game of Thrones, and I learned later that, yes, it has a story arc. It has a beginning, and unfortunately, the end hadn't been written yet, and it still has not been written yet. The author, Game of Thrones, like the author who's writing, he's not finished the books, the last book. The last season, and what we're watching right now is HBO's creation, interpretation based off of his kind of direction. He gave him kind of the storyboard of what he.
So his books.
This last book hasn't been written yet, so it could be completely different. Actually, he has said it will be different.
Okay, well that's interesting.
There will be a difference, and what that is, I don't really know. Right?
Somebody drop a message in one of these and tell me if I should bother reading the books or not.
Well,
how many are there?
4 or 5.
I could do that.
They are huge books, like 1,000 plus.
That's fine.
Good luck. I mean, the audiobook alone's 36 hours, one of them. So
yeah, but they fucking always read so slow on books. You got to just zip through that shit.
I'm telling you, that's one of them. Yeah, it's long.
I'll burn through.
Have you seen Stephen King's or read Stephen King's Under the Dome?
No, fuck. Oh, that is so
Talk about
sad.
another.
Somebody gave me that to read, and I forgot about it because I started watching the TV show and it was stupid as shit.
Oh, the TV show was nothing remotely close to it.
And I was complaining about it, and they were like, read the book. And then I was like, God, whatever. I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
And then they gave me the book like to read, and it's still sitting on my shelf, and I still haven't read it.
Well,
I don't read a lot.
It's a shorter, Under the Dome is shorter than the Game of Thrones books, I believe.
But I haven't read it yet.
But I'm just saying, if you've seen it, it's
yeah.
But and I that was a book.
I can burn through books pretty quick though.
Good for you. I can't.
Zip, zip, zip.
That book pissed me off, but I don't know if you know the history behind that book either.
Under the Dome?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
He basically wrote half of it in the 70s, and he's put it on the shelf and never finished it. And then he's like, meh, I need a book. So he went.
The Simpsons movie came out. And then the Simpsons movie came out, and they actually put a dome over Springfield, and he was like, I better finish this.
I don't know.
He went, Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does.
But yeah, I love the Simpsons. So anyway, he finished the book, and you can, at least in my opinion, you can clearly tell that something happened halfway through. Like it's a different person, right? And that's kind of what's happening in Game of Thrones right now, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
That Hollywood.
It's like George Lucas started it and Disney finished it.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah, and it's not always a good thing. Sometimes I think they make them better, but no, it's not. The depth isn't there.
For all the complaints that I've heard from this one so far, I would have to say that I think they're unfounded. Just because characters didn't end how you wanted them to end.
That's different, yeah.
I can take the line of what's happened so far, and it makes sense to me. You can see
the progression.
The progression of the character, and you can see how they got from where they started to where they are now. There's not been any giant leap, I think, that takes them out of character. It sucks.
Right.
Like, I remember back in season 4 or 5 or whatever the hell it was, when, you wanted the Mother of Dragons to become the ruler and you were all rooting for her and she was becoming all powerful and freeing people. Then you look back afterwards now, and I'm like, she was really just doing that all for herself to get herself into power.
I was never confused.
Power hungry?
No.
But I was. I bought into it. I was like, good for her, freeing the slaves and being awesome, and
You mean like the Democrats giving certain
I try not
portions.
to draw
There's some political overtones there.
I try not to draw.
Like, hey, guess what? I'm for you now. Come over here and do my work for me. And especially when she sent all the Dothraki were the first ones to go into battle and basically almost eliminated a whole race of people for somebody else's war. With if they would have stayed in what would I can't remember what the other continent. Basically, they would have stayed in the other continent. They would have been fine.
No, I don't know.
It would have been fine because they can't get across the water supposedly, right? Yeah. So they could have stayed and be like, sorry guys.
Well, it didn't until she came along.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If they would have stayed over there, the White Walkers would have never come over there. That wouldn't have been an issue.
Well, actually, they would have. They were going to push through the hole.
No, they can't. They can't go across water.
They would have froze the water and walked across it.
Then if that was the case, they would have walked around the wall. They never walked around the wall.
Well, they didn't have to. They had the big giant fucking dragon.
But they could have done it 100,000 years ago or whatever it was.
But remember when John and them were all stuck on a little fucking island?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they froze it and walked out to them.
Yeah, so they'll get it. They'll figure it out.
There you go for the rules again. That's what I'm saying. They have this big wall. The wall ends at the ocean, and I mean, you can't freeze the ocean. I don't really know, but
yeah, they can.
I'm with you, but
winter is coming. It's been the
I know
thing since the
winter
beginning.
is coming. But anyway, Game of Thrones.
I'm terrible with the names and the places, sort of thing. Like people message me and they'll be like, "Oh, what did you think about?"
Oh, their names are hard,
and I gotta be like, "Oh, fuck, who was that again?"
You almost need a cheat sheet for the first couple seasons. Like if you've never watched this show, I will tell you right now, it is a good show. I think it's worth the time.
I can't wait for the night. I'm pumped about it.
Watch the first season. You're gonna hate it because you're gonna be.
I loved it.
Well, I'm not saying because you're gonna be so confused because there's so many people and
they kill Ned Stark. Oh, I thought you were going to put spoilers in it. They chop his head right the fuck off. Lop that fucker right in front of his kids.
The best meme ever was, it's Ned Stark going, I'm going to go south. The wife says, don't go south. And he says, okay, Game of Thrones ended. That would have been it. That's the entire show.
Is over.
It's like, why didn't, and then you're kind of to your point about the Walking Dead, like, why didn't they kill him? Because then the series, I mean, it's not good for the show, right? It has to go on or else you just end things too quickly. And
again, it goes back to your rules. Stick with your rules.
Right.
If you're all sharpshooters, somebody's going to get the motherfucker.
It is. It's terrible. I've always knew Daenerys was what she was because she was beat by and abused.
I know, but like, man, when her brother was such a dick to her and everything, and she finally stood up and got some power, I was like, good for you.
She had the dude killed by pouring gold down his mouth.
Oh, and you're yelling at me for spoiler alerts.
I'm just saying.
That was a sweet scene. When his head clunked on the ground, I was like, fuck it, yes, good for you, because he was a little asshole.
She's power hungry. She said, I want to rule.
I think what I like, well, she deserved it. She deserves it.
Does she, though? Just because she has a
line.
Right, exactly.
Back then.
Your inbred bloodline.
Yeah. More spoilers.
Yeah.
Fuck, I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I did remember the other show that I watched, beginning to end, Sons of Anarchy. You didn't like it?
The show or the ending?
The show.
So I liked it, but
ending?
I'm thinking, how many times can you come to the brink of oblivion, and in 30 seconds at the end of it, be like, everything's back to normal. Everybody's eating Cheetos. It's like, fine. It's like, I mean, the dude just got his head bashed in prison, and you guys are the cops are, It was interesting. It was an entertaining show to watch, but talk about staying with the rules and stuff.
Oh yeah,
but it was just every episode. I wish they would have kind of given the arc over like 3 or 4 episodes, so it didn't seem like they were just like, get into trouble, get out of trouble, get into trouble, get out of trouble, get into trouble, get out of trouble. It was like, this is just I don't know. It's like a shitty series.
It's not as repetitive as some shows. Man, I've been having some drinks today for this episode. It's not as repetitive as some shows that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like House. I started watching that a little bit back in the day.
Doctor show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you realize after like 3 episodes, okay, every single episode is going to be the exact same
thing. It's like watching some of those ones.
Medium. I watched that back in the And
the hospital blew up. Well, they're not canceling the show, so they'll be back next week. MacGyver never dies.
But the shows that have the script, House was everything. It was always a case.
Yes.
And then
a template of sorts. It's this, that,
exactly.
Or that. Right.
And then somewhere through he'd have this epiphany.
Yep.
By having a conversation, and then he'd know how to heal him, and then he would, and like it's the same.
There'd be a little douchebaggery in between
single time.
Yeah, that's old.
Like, all right,
Game of Thrones. Not Game of Thrones. Sons of Anarchy was similar to that.
It wasn't though, because it was they went through progressions. They went through fighting with other MCs and then getting along with other MCs and working with them, and then the Irish came in, and there was a whole. It took the
What
kid.
about the Irish?
Well, you know,
I know.
Yeah, there was
Why you gotta
different
pick on the
things
Irish?
happening.
Yeah.
Because you're right here.
Well, so one of the first shows that I can think of that kind of The Wire. Have you ever watched The Wire?
Nope.
You should
Never heard
definitely
of
take it. It's an HBO show. It's kind of the original cross.
Well, I'm going to cancel my subscription tomorrow, though.
No, you shouldn't. The cross storyline type of story. Like there's all these individuals and they have their own stories, and you don't realize until through the series that how they start to cross over, and they like literally walk past each other in certain episodes and don't know each other. But then you find out that they are connected, you know, and it is one of the first ones. It's probably been
How many seasons are?
it's all
there?
done. It's like 10, 12 years old. It was one of the first ones to do this kind of
But how many seasons are there?
6 or 8, something like that. So it's worth it.
It's a lot of time.
It is. It's totally worth it. There's some great characters in that show. And
I'll tell you this: between now and the next time we meet,
Mhm.
I will at least give it a shot.
There you go. I
That's all
will
I can
say
promise you. I don't have
does
time for
take
that
off
shit.
slow, but it takes off.
And now here comes.
So I jumped in second season, watched second season first, and then went back, and I went second through, and then went back to watch the first. And I'm like, oh, that, because it was a little confusing. Like, how the hell do these two know each other? It doesn't make sense. So I went back to the first season. Like, had I had started at the first season, I probably wouldn't have watched the show. Same thing with like Trailer Park Boys. I had to watch the movie first.
What?
The movie first because it built the characters faster.
Great.
Then I bought into the characters.
Okay.
I could tolerate the rest of the.
When we post this episode, put a poll up on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere, and I don't know. I won't see it, but tell me the results of it. Put put a poll up and say, should Jay watch The Wire? I want to see what the people say. I don't believe you.
And nice that.
I think
Have you watched the cartoon version of Trailer Park Boys yet? The new season?
Didn't know there was a cartoon version.
Do you watch Trailer Park Boys?
I have seen Trailer Park Boys in the past.
But you're not like an avid watcher then.
No, I mean, yes and no.
Gotcha.
I don't know how many seasons there are. I've watched, and I've seen a lot. It's funny. It's fucking hilarious.
It is.
But I don't.
It jumps the shark
I
here
don't
and
watch
there.
a whole lot of TV, so I don't keep up enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But everything I've seen was great, and I know that I've watched like at least I'm gonna say 4 seasons, maybe 5. How many are there? I've seen a lot.
Of the regular show, yeah, I think there's 5. 6,
Okay, so maybe I've seen all of it or so.
but not the cartoon version yet.
I don't even know there was a cartoon version.
Basically,
I did watch
they ate
one
3
movie.
pounds of mushrooms, and they're stuck in a cartoon world. But real world rules still apply, and they're not sure if everybody else is in the real world with them or if they're actually in a cartoon.
But it's actually animated.
Yes, and
I don't know.
so I was not a fan after a couple episodes. I got why they did it. Well, John dies, right?
Mr. Leahy?
Mr. Leahy died in real life.
Yeah, in real life he died.
And so they kind of killed him off in the show. That
in the
way.
show or in the cartoon?
In the cartoon.
Okay.
So they kind of
Are they still
addressed
making
that.
the show? Is that over?
No, this is their latest season was the animated
Oh,
one.
was it? Okay.
And I don't know that it'll continue, but I think it was a way for them to still have a season without John
Gotcha.
and do the whole thing. And it's, probably was quicker to do that than film
He was
everything.
a good fucking
He's a great
actor.
character. Have you ever watched his like personal stuff, like about his personal life?
I saw like maybe a 10-minute YouTube thing, like a behind the scenes sort of deal with them.
Pretty cool.
It didn't really get into his life so much.
No.
It got into like it was like him like
Building the thing on the lake and all that stuff.
no, none of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh.
It was like him like on set, like just dicking around.
Oh, gotcha.
and more like a tribute thing. It didn't really get into his.
There is another YouTube video out there. It's almost like a little
By the way,
documentary.
you
It's like
forgot
20
to
minutes.
spoiler alert any of this.
We did it in the early part.
Right. Well, you better have. I want to see
all the fucking
Sons of
hashtags.
Anarchy. I want to see fucking Trailer Park Boys.
I'm gonna have so much work to do. So what endings of TV shows did you hate?
See, all right, so I don't think any, because I try not to put my own license on things. I try not to. They're not made for me. They're made. Somebody creates them, right? It's their story. As long as you stick with your storyline, whether or not I think you did it correctly, doesn't make sense for me. With that, disclaimer put out there, I would say I was kind of disappointed with Sopranos. Because it just sort of stopped.
Anybody that watches our little promo video will get that too.
But yeah, that one kind of bugged me a little. But again, I don't get too upset because, it's not my.
I liked it to the fact that couldn't have been more real life. Like, hey, basically, listen, it's not going to end. This is just where it's at, and there's nothing else to say here. This is how it's going to go. You know where it's going.
I get the idea behind it. I wasn't but again,
Leave it up to the audience to make the rest of the story.
Kind of.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
You get to assume.
But it's also,
oh, he got shot. They blew up the building. Like, there's all these conspiracy theories.
Who knows?
What's more fun than that, though, right?
Sure. But you also,
And the guy who wrote is like, I don't know. I never got that far, man. I got tired of it.
For me, I kind of want that closure. I want to know what happened. But again, it's not my story. I'm not the one telling it. So I don't get too upset. Like when I watch Game of Thrones later tonight, no matter what happens, I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm not going to be like firing off reviews and shit. Hey, thanks for making a show that entertained me a little bit. It was a cool story. That's all. Well, if you didn't end it on my premise and on my personal what I think you should do, fuck, I'm not that fucking important. Like you do your thing, and I'll sit here and I'll enjoy it or I won't.
You do you, boo.
But I'm not going to flip out.
I think one of the so I'm going to go with one of the best things. It's actually a movie. I don't like happy endings. I like real life. This is how shit really happens kind of ending.
Yep.
And
so sorry, I was trying so not to cough.
I like real life endings, and Stephen King's The Mist was probably one of the most like real life endings I've ever seen. Have you seen it?
Was it a movie or TV?
It was a movie.
Show? I remember. I remember somebody being in a grocery store.
Yes, that's the one.
But I couldn't tell you how it.
The rest of the movie blew. The ending was the best.
I don't remember the ending.
And it was a terrible ending. Like, it was just horrible. Not necessarily like poorly written or anything like that. It was just fuck.
Okay.
So the moral of the story is they're trying to get away from all these monsters or whatever, come on an adventure, yada yada yada. And then earlier in the movie, some woman needed his help, and he was like, "Listen, I got my own problems, woman. Go take care of your own shit." And at the end, he's got his kid, this girl he met that he kind of was like, I don't want to say falling in love with, but had some feelings for, and this old couple. And he had a gun, and so there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the car, and he only had 3 bullets.
Okay.
So the old people put their heads together, and he killed them.
Okay.
And then he killed his son.
Ooh.
And then because these spiders would get you and suck your life out. It was
That's probably I probably never.
I don't say spider or whatever.
If they showed spiders, I turn that shit.
I shouldn't say it's a spider, but whatever gets you, puts you in a cocoon and sucks your life. You like it's terrible death. It's long and drawn out. So anyway, he kills his son, kills the girl, and has no bullet left for himself. He's going to sacrifice himself to the creatures. And he goes outside and he's like, "Come get me!" Screaming, drops to his knees, and you hear this noise coming. You think it's them. Well, it's a bunch of military coming and burning shit. They've closed it all down. It's all over.
No.
Everything's good. They didn't, and the chick that he thwarted in the beginning that was going to go needed help, no one looking for her son, goes by on a carrier, transport vehicle with her son, looks down at him. He just looks up at her, and he just killed his kid. Killed his
fuck.
And he's gonna live. It's all over.
No, he's not.
Wow, yeah, right.
He's saying himself first chance they're not watching.
He's going back to the hardware store and get some bullets.
Ouch.
But yeah, he that ending, I was like,
so what a good ending. First of all,
holy shit.
Second of all, how hilarious! When did that movie come out?
God, early 90s.
How funny is it that when you put this episode up now, you've got a hashtag The Mist as a spoiler alert, because hey, what if somebody out there was really, they caught the beginning of it back in 1993 and just haven't quite gotten around to finishing it yet, and it's your job to make sure you don't ruin it for them.
That's fair. I mean, I'll have to put it's a lot of tags, man. That's fair. Because I want them to experience it like I did.
You just ruined it for me.
You never watched it. I've asked you before about this movie.
I told you about the supermarket. I saw part of it. I knew that. So I'd seen it. I don't think I finished.
I just helped you. I helped you get to the end.
They probably had spiders, and I probably turned it off out of fear. That's what I guess happened.
So I think that was one. The one I didn't like, though. Let's see. I thought the ending of fucking Sons of Anarchy was like, I waited for this. I was like, meh.
It made sense. You saw that.
I get, but it's just like
he started writing that journal. He was all about his dad.
So let's make our predictions for
Dude,
GOT.
I can't, 'cause mine already got fucked. I really thought that when Jamie was left, the big woman, they keep calling her. I can't remember her name.
I can't remember.
But when he like bailed out on her, I thought he was going to go back and I thought he was going to kill Cersei.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was really like, he's going to kill Cersei. He sees the error of his ways now, and he is going to, facilitate whoever is coming into power. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And then he didn't. He came back, and douchebag McBoatfuck killed him, and I guess wounded him. And then he went and the fucking rocks fell on him. I'm like, what the fucking... For me, it didn't. Weak. I didn't like it. But I'm not bitching too much about it because not my story. I wasn't smart enough to write that entire story, so that's how it happened.
Well, and it's like she didn't get the revenge she really wanted. Daenerys didn't. Like, kind of robbed herself of it.
What did fuck Daenerys? What about Chick?
Arya?
No, just fuck, not Chick. The chick died. Grey Worm. But that poor guy.
Which guy?
He's one of the Unsullied.
Yeah. Yeah. When they chopped his
little girl's head off. Like, what the fuck?
But you see, like, when
that was super rude.
Daenerys had her collar, and gave it to him, and he threw it in the fire.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, I'm all in now, man. I should have never.
Oh.
But here's the crazy thing is I've always known Daenerys was going to do what she's doing. That has never been surprised to me whatsoever. It's just a slow progression. And two,
I honestly didn't realize it until she had the choice. You can burn the city, or you can not burn the city. And up until now, she would have never chosen to burn the city. I think she's sick of.
She's scorned,
and that took what
Jon Snow turning
on her, and all that's. It was that little push.
Yeah.
If that had happened, last season, she would have never burned that city down.
You don't think so?
No. She wanted to rule it. It's just she's been betrayed so many times. She's been fucked over. I guess it's a big analogy about what it's like to be in power and how it corrupts you.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, and
that's how I take it.
Either you rule through fear or love, and she's like, fine, fear it is. That's what she's going to rule by. But she won't. She's no. Here's my prediction.
She will not take the throne.
Here's my prediction.
I'm just trying to figure out who's going to kill her tonight.
Here's my prediction.
Let's go.
I say Jon's going to kill her.
You think?
Jon Snow's going to kill her. Yeah. Or they're going to wind up killing each other.
And then
I don't know from there. And then Arya takes over.
Tyrion.
But Tyrion has no right. Oh, yeah. He does have the right to throw because his sister.
But he's the smartest motherfucker out of all of them.
Yeah. But I really think Jon's going to wind up having to kill her. He's probably going to, try to calm her down or something, or she's going to.
I think Arya might kill her.
I don't think Arya's already had her star. Her star moment. She killed the.
I want Arya to kill everybody. She's a badass.
She is, isn't she?
Total badass.
But I seriously think that's what I think. Jon's going to have to kill her. And I think he knows it. And that's the sucky part. He does love his aunt. But.
So when it comes to. There's a lot of incest in that show, man.
Well, so that's the weird dichotomy of it too, right? Is that they don't care. The Lannisters, it's normal for them.
It's fucking weird as shit.
Well, I mean, that's normal for them, inbreeding or whatever.
Just those two.
No.
The dad didn't know about it.
I'm saying in the line of if you go and look back about the Lannisters, there's a lot of inbreeding that's happened. That's kind of
like in the books.
They kind of accept it as part of their lineage because they want to keep their bloodline pure. That's
not how that works. That's how you end up with
3-armed
little mongoloids running around.
Yeah, true. So to her, it's like, okay, well, this is her least concern is that he's her nephew. It's that he has a better claim to the throne. That's the only thing that threatens her. It's not
especially
nephew
now.
Part I don't care about.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care about the throne. I just don't want to be making out with my aunt
anymore. He's never cared about the throne.
Correct.
He really always took.
Which he probably would be the best to do it.
He
right?
always took Ned Stark's,
right?
Approach to that whole thing. But
so we'll see.
It'll be fun.
I mean, it would be weird if it all turned up. I mean, what the thing about Game of Thrones is what you think is going to happen doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about the show is that the characters that you loved, you think like, there's no way that guy's got to make it all the way to the end.
Nope. Them. And then dead.
Like, okay.
That's what I liked about Sons of Anarchy the most too.
Yeah. They didn't. Nobody was off limits.
Yeah, they were like, I mean, any episode somebody could die. Like, what the fuck? How do you kill a character like that?
And they killed Juice.
Yeah, right. Like, what the
fuck? Even though he was a fucking coward, but
he was a coward, man. But he was put in a rough spot. He didn't think that his I want to say lineage. It goes back to Game of Thrones. He didn't think his race was allowed in the club, and he did some things for that. He almost took himself out because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like, we don't pay attention to that by law. It's like, well, I didn't fucking know, or I wouldn't have tried to jump off the tree limb. Like, fucker, you couldn't have told me that earlier?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's my prediction. We'll see how it goes tonight.
I think mine will be, what the fuck? I guess I got to make one now. I don't know. I don't think Johnson. Fuck. Now you got me like kind of wavering. Maybe you are right. Maybe Jon Snow will kill her. But then, all right, who gets the throne? Who sits on that throne? You think it's John? John doesn't want it.
John doesn't want it, but he probably has to take it now.
You think so?
He has to.
Fuck, I hope it's Tyrion.
That would be awesome. And you know what? He might advocate.
He's the smartest motherfucker out there for it.
Tyrion?
Yeah. Tyrion's
you think
the smartest motherfucker.
He is, but you think back to his motivations back in previous episodes, like who the person that he is. He has changed. You know,
he's changed. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still going to get wasted and have sex with tons of hookers. So what?
So the thing, it's very circular, right? You kind of look at what's going now. It sounds exactly what happened to the previous generations, and even when you got the master of change, I can't remember what they call the scientists. No, the scientists get which is now Sully. He's went to the school to try to learn stuff. Tully. What is that? They wear the helmet. Yeah, you know what I mean.
So many people get mad at that.
Yeah, I'm butchering it. There's too many names. I'm terrible. I like the show. I don't give a shit. But so sidebar though, I did watch this little play the other day, and they were making fun of people talking about Game of Thrones, and it was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
It was like this guy's like, "Hey, did you see the last one? Yeah, did you see that? I'll make it up." They're like, "Oh, that dog that was in there. Oh yeah, that dog and that guy that got burnt. Yeah. And what about the airplane? Oh, that was crazy. And what do you guys talk about? We're talking about Game of Thrones, and everybody kind of adds in things that didn't happen. Yeah. And this one guy comes out like, "You guys are idiots. Like none of that happened." And everybody's kind of like cowers down. He goes, "It was like this." And it wasn't anything it was supposed to be either. And then it just kind of went down. It's like, yeah, that's probably how it seems to most people. Like, you don't want to be the person that hasn't seen it because everybody's talking about it. But,
you have no idea what they're all talking about.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with the distraction. Like, I mean, I'm glad we have entertainment like this.
What do you think's next?
Oof. What do you mean what's next? Well, they're going to do prequels.
I'm not going to watch those.
They're going to do spin-offs, prequels.
I'm not going to watch
I think it'll be like, I think it's going to be like Star Wars where people kind of start writing their own
Nope.
Like the Clone Wars and stuff like that.
Like, what's the next big show? I'm not going to watch any prequels or side shows that's going to be.
We had Drug Dealer Dad.
What?
We had, Breaking Bad, Drug Dealing Dad.
Oh, okay.
And you had.
We had Motorcycle Misfits.
Yeah, Motorcycle Misfits. You had, the Game of Thrones. I don't know what the hell you call that.
Don't forget the Italian Mobster.
Yeah, so gang movies.
Classic.
Well, and they had a really good political movie, and then that got trashed.
No, the show House of Cards.
Yes.
Oh,
destroyed it. I would have been much happier had they just taken Kevin Spacey out of it, put another guy in there. I don't care if he looks like Kevin Spacey, and just run with the story that it was originally put out there and let it run out.
I would have been happier if they would have had him in there, and he was like, "By the way, just kidding. I've been K-Pax this entire time."
Been who?
K-Pax, the movie, Kevin Spacey.
Oh, sorry. No, over my head.
Big Kevin Spacey fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still?
Yeah.
Even though he touched kids?
He didn't touch kids.
A 15-year-old kid.
Was it 15? Yeah. And how old was he at the time?
20s.
20-something? He was at a party. Everybody's a little fucked up. He's.
Is it okay if it's a boy?
Doesn't matter if he's a boy or a girl at that
point.
He's
15.
Doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl at that point, though, right?
But I'm saying he's 15 years old.
Yeah, and I think he made some advances, and the kid, left the room, didn't he? I don't think he actually...
He's 15.
Okay, so was it wrong?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
He made advances at an underage person when he was over 20. Yes. Did he rape someone?
I believe he may have touched them inappropriately, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and whatever.
All I'm saying is, is it career ruining?
That's where.
Did he make a mistake?
There's a podcast for it.
Yeah, there is. Did he make a mistake? Yes.
Your personal choices. Should you lose your career over it?
Well, it depends on what they are. If you're a serial rape, or even if you're a rapist, if you'd have raped that kid, you know what? Get him off the show.
Yeah.
Put the motherfucker in prison. You don't rape people.
Well, you like Michael Jackson, don't you?
No. What the fuck? No.
I thought you don't listen to his music?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I've heard his music because you can't live in America and not hear his music, but I don't listen to it.
I would say most people disagree. They're like, "Oh, Michael Jackson's very great." It's like, do you even remember?
I don't think
he wasn't convicted. So
I don't think I've ever put on a Michael Jackson song and been like, "Check this out."
My bad.
Listen to it.
All right, well, fair enough. I don't think you're the majority of the world, though. Everybody still loves him.
People listen to Michael Jackson?
Still love him, yeah.
On
absolutely.
Purpose?
Yeah. He released new stuff.
He's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So is Prince, but he releases new stuff too.
He's awful as well.
You what?
He's awful as well.
I love Prince. Never mind.
All right. Next episode.
So,
guess we found our next episode.
ICP and Prince. And
all right. But you know what? To each their own, except rapists.
So good luck watching Game of Thrones tonight. I don't know. I'll have to look. We'll look it up after
Plus,
the show.
Frank Underwood was an awesome character, so fuck them for ruining that.
Mm-hmm. So, some next shows coming up. We're going to probably do a little bit of different format. We're going to jump on a topic and kind of give our best at it. We're going to go do a little research and come back and revisit it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about something we know nothing about.
Which is probably most of the shit that we talk about. So it's not going to be any different. We're just going to come back this
listening is like, what are you talking about? What's different?
It kind of, you know what, our abortion podcast that came out recently too kind of brings us back to that. You know, we're looking back at something that we've touched on before, but maybe we should do that again and kind of dig in a little deeper.
As long as it's not 15.
As long as it's not 15. So I appreciate y'all listening. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at arguably correct
arguably correct podcast at gmail.com, or you can tweet us at arguably. Somehow the one who drank the most during this is also the most professional right now.
Yeah, but I drank the most last night, so
that is true.
I'm still struggling.
Yeah, how about this? You had the hangover today, not me.
Definitely.
I was a good boy. I went to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning after just a few drinks. I was
almost saw the sun. I almost saw the sun. I mean, there should be no reason you see a sunrise, at least not after you haven't went to bed yet, or not before you went to bed.
That's most of...
What's that?
Nothing.
Okay, fair enough. Give us a tweet, give us an email. Check us out, and we'll be back next week. Check us out then.
Thanks for listening.